Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a little chatty getting ready with me. I'm going to be answering your questions. I reached out to you guys on my community tab here on YouTube as well as on Twitter and Instagram to see if you had anything you wanted to ask me. And lots of you guys answered, so thanks so much to those of you who did. And yeah, I'm going to be giving you my answers while I put on this face of makeup right here. My camera battery dies like at the very end of this video, so I had to like stop and charge it, and I edited while I was waiting, and in doing that I realized this video is gonna be stupid long, so I'm sorry in advance if you don't want to watch the entire thing. But yeah, you may want to grab a snack, get comfortable, because we're gonna be here together for a while. Anyway, with all that being said, we've got a lot to chat about, so let's get into it. All right, so let's get started. I am gonna be spraying my face with this Urban Decay Quick Fix Hydro-Charged Complexion Prep Priming Spray that seriously has been lasting so long. I cannot like get rid of the sample, I don't know why. It is very refreshing though. And then I'm gonna go in with some sunscreen that also really works well as a makeup primer. This is the Cotz Face Tinted Sunscreen. I really enjoy this. It has SPF 40 and it has a very like moussey consistency similar to a primer, so I like wearing it under makeup. So you guys asked some really awesome questions. There are a bunch of them, so I'm gonna try to answer as many as possible. So this first question is from Tiffany O. I'm sorry, Tiffany, I will probably totally butcher your last name, so I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. But she asked what I majored in college. Side note, I'm also going to be using this new Derma E Tinted Moisturizing BB Cream in the shade Light today. So I actually majored in two things in college. I double majored in psychology and human development and family studies. I actually started out as a pharmacy major and then switched at the end of my freshman year because I just decided that I was doing pharmacy more because people told me to than my actually wanting to. I was good at math and science, so all those people were like, you should go into engineering or into some kind of science background, and I think that's why I chose pharmacy. Like, pharmacists make really good money, it's a very secure job, but like I knew I didn't want to be a nurse or a doctor because I'm super squeamish. Like, I can't look when people give me shots or draw my blood because I will like pass out or throw up. So I always knew that like that wasn't right for me, but pharmacists don't have to like get that into things. So I applied two pharmacy programs originally. I ended up going to UConn. I live in Connecticut, so I went to, you know, my state school. I really wanted to go to school in Boston, actually. I got into Northeastern and I got a scholarship, but it still would have been a lot more money than going to UConn was, and my parents were basically like, we are not going to give you any more support financially to go anywhere else than we would if you went to state school. So basically I had to make the decision between having a giant student loan and going to Boston or not having loans and staying in state. So I stayed in state even though I was kind of upset about it because I really wanted a change of pace. Like, I've lived in Connecticut my whole life. I kind of wanted to live in a city. I wanted to do something totally different, but that did not end up working out that way. But UConn had a really good pharmacy program, so that was what I did. And then after a year of studying, I was kind of like, what am I doing? Because I wasn't really looking forward to like taking any of my classes. I felt like I was only doing it because that's what people wanted me to do and not because of what I wanted to do. So I switched my major to psychology. I have a history of mental illness in my family. I've always kind of joked that I'm like the friendapist, that people feel very open telling me things and sharing things with me, and I care a lot about people and I'm very empathic, so that was something that appealed to me. So I was thinking to myself, like, maybe I will be a therapist someday or something like that. And then I also discovered the family studies major while I was taking some of my electives classes, and I really, really liked those classes a lot, so I decided that I wanted to double major. I came into college with like already more than a semester's worth of credits because I was that crazy person in high school, so I was able to basically fit in a second major without having to extend the time that I was in school beyond 4 years. And in the meantime, while I was doing all of this, I was working at summer camp when I was home from school, and previous to this, I'd never worked with kids. I didn't really have any younger cousins or kids around me in my entire life growing up. My younger brother is the youngest person in my entire extended family. Side note, I know one of you guys also asked if I have siblings. Yes, I do have one sibling. I have a younger brother. He's 2.5 years younger than me. He's turning 30 this year, so I'm sure my parents are feeling a little weird about that. But yeah, so I never had experience really working with kids at all. When I was growing up, I didn't really babysit very much. So once I got this summer camp job, it kind of also opened my eyes up to the possibility of working with kids, and I really enjoyed it. And so when I decided to double major, my focus in human development and family studies was on child development. And in my psych classes, I started focusing more on developmental psychology. I worked while I was in college in like what they call them the child labs, which sounds really terrible, like they're running experiments on children, but it's really more of like a daycare center. Usually all the kids that were there are the kids of professors and staff at the university, and it's a place for the students who are going to become developmental psychologists to learn, or people that want to become early childhood educators. It's where they get their training. So it's more of a learning environment than like a testing on children environment. So that was kind of where I initially started off, was thinking that maybe I was going to work with children and do something in the psych realm. Anyway, so needless to say, what happened to me was in my senior year of college, I kind of had a little bit of a meltdown where I realized, like, if I wanted to go to graduate school, I would need to have like a burning question or thing I wanted to research and study. And I'm like, I don't have enough life experience to know what that is. So I felt like it would have been a waste, or wouldn't have been the right time for me to apply to graduate school. So I did not, and I ended up nannying for a year, which was really intense. I watched 4 girls and they were a handful, and I did not get paid nearly enough money, but I was not assertive and did not have a backbone to ask for more. But the family that I was working for, the mom was an OBGYN, and that's kind of how I got my foot in the door into the OBGYN world. And through a series of things, I ultimately ended up in the job I used to have, where I did surgical scheduling and all kinds of admin stuff for this big OBGYN practice, which ended up being really ironic because, like I told you guys, I did not expect to really be in medicine because I am such a squeamish person, but at least that job didn't involve me having to like physically like do anything to anyone. I did have to look at pictures of people's insides, but weirdly enough, you get kind of like desensitized to it. It's not as bad, I feel like, as seeing it live in person in front of you. Anyway, I feel like that was a very long-winded answer to what was really a straightforward question, but I don't know, I just feel like it is an interesting kind of story, and I think there are a lot of other people out there that have very winding paths in life, so I just wanted to share. My friend here on YouTube, Maria, her channel is Agape Love Girl, she asked me on Twitter, what do you do besides YouTube? So from like a career standpoint, I'm also a coach, so I coach women one-on-one, kind of on helping them to achieve and set their various life goals, talk about relationship stuff. It's more life-oriented coaching than specifically career-oriented coaching or anything like that. I really kind of am here to serve my clients in whatever way they need to be served. But as far as like what I do that's not work, I have a lot of things I really enjoy. I haven't been doing as much artsy stuff recently. Like, I used to be a very artistic person, or well, I'm not an artistic person anymore. I just don't craft and like paint as much as I used to. I really should get back into it, to be honest. But yeah, I'm really into craftsy and artsy things. I've made my own jewelry. I knit, I crochet, I like to paint, I like to draw. I also used to ballroom dance. I did it competitively all through college and for a few years post-college, so I can dance. Probably not super well anymore because I haven't really kept up with it, but honestly, ballroom is one of those things that stays with you forever, I feel like. I also really enjoy yoga. I love cooking. I love food so much. And actually, I know Lauren Stafford asked, what's my ultimate comfort food, both savory and sweet? And that is a tough one for me because, like I said, I love to cook and I love to eat. I'm not a picky eater. I love to eat pretty much everything, mushrooms, olives, you name it, all the foods that a lot of people find gross. I'm like, yo, give it to me. I want it. Delicious. So to try to pick just like what my absolute favorite things are is really tough because there's a lot of stuff I really enjoy. I would say for a savory comfort dish, I think my absolute favorite thing on the planet is polenta. And it's funny because polenta is not something I grew up eating, even though my dad's family is 100% Italian. I think because my great-grandparents were the ones that immigrated here, my grandparents were kind of brought up in a culture where they were made to be American and not Italian, so there was a lot of culture lost there, which is really unfortunate because that's something I would love to connect more with. Anyway, so once I was like older and kind of on my own, I would say like late teens, early 20s, I decided like I really wanted to learn how to cook. My parents never really taught me very much. Like, they were amazing cooks. I ate very well, but they never really invited me into the kitchen. So somewhere in there, like, I discovered that polenta was a thing and it just seemed interesting to me. So I like sat down to actually learn how to make it, and I made it, and holy bejesus, it's so delicious. Now, if you're like Southern, grits and polenta are kind of the same thing. Like, they're not exactly the same, but it's a very similar type of thing. So if you're a fan of like shrimp and grits or stuff like that, polenta, kind of just like the Italian version of that. So like, it's not something necessarily that I just like would eat a bowl of by itself, although to be honest, I probably would. But it's like the perfect accompaniment to like anything, like polenta and meatballs, amazing. Chicken, scallops, like basically anything, you put it on polenta and it just makes it a million times better, because it's this just like cheesy, creamy, just oh goodness, that is the ultimate like savory comfort food to me. Now when it comes to sweet foods, I frequently joke that I have a dessert stomach. Like, I can be so absolutely full that I think I will throw up if I have one more bite of my dinner, and then you put a piece of chocolate cake in front of me and I will devour the entire thing. So like, I do definitely love chocolatey things like chocolate mousse. My husband, though, I would say he's more of like a chocoholic than I am. He is a true 100% chocolate guy, like chocolate ice cream, chocolate everything all the way. I'm more of a vanilla ice cream, or really specifically cookie dough. But I also really like fruity desserts a lot. I love like a good homemade blueberry pie. I also love lemon meringue, which I feel like is so underrated. Like, nobody eats lemon meringue pie. And it's funny, when I was growing up, my dad's mom, I feel like she was one of the few people in the world that understood my appreciation for lemon meringue pie, and every year for my birthday, she would always bring me a lemon meringue pie or make me one. I mean, once she was in her like late 80s, early 90s, she wasn't doing as much cooking anymore, so she wasn't going to be bringing me any from scratch pies. But it's one of those things that it like is making me emotional, actually, thinking about it. Crap, I'm like not used to being somebody that gets like teary on camera, but my birthday is next week, and my grandmother passed away last spring, so I don't know, it's just weird. It's one of those things you think about. Like, when you lose somebody, they take those little like nuances, the little things with them, like, that little gesture that for 30 years of my life was something that I enjoyed and appreciated, I'm never going to like experience again. So it just kind of makes me a little bit sad. Anyway, well, now that I've had my moment and like composed myself, it is really hard for me to pick like an ultimate sweet comfort food. I do also really love ice cream. Even though I'm lactose intolerant and I can't really eat a lot of it without feeling like death, I'll take like 3 Lactaid pills. I don't care. Ben & Jerry's half-baked, my all-time favorite ice cream. I could probably sit and eat an entire pint in one sitting if I let myself, but like, I don't, because it's not a good idea no matter which way you look at it. All right, I'm gonna move on to my eyeshadow. I'm using this little Ciate London Astrolights palette today. I think this is so cute, and I love the colors that are in here. So Lauren also asked me how tall I am, and I feel like this kind of fits into the like, I'm really into food and you would never guess it by looking at me kind of thing. So she said, I'm guessing you're about 5'7" to 5'9". No, I'm about 5'4". I'm really not that tall, but it's funny because I used to be the tallest kid in my class when I was growing up. I was like the freak bead pole child that was 6 inches taller than everybody else and super ridiculously skinny, very uncoordinated. My arms were really long long and lanky, and I just like did not fit into my body at all, I would say, until maybe I was a teenager-ish. So they predicted when I was growing up, because I was like always in the 90-something percentile for height, that I was going to be more like 5'7", 5'9". So you are not off by thinking that. But alas, I think what happened was, like, I got my period when I was in 6th, 7th grade, and I just stopped growing. And I feel like I should have kept growing. Like, my legs are not long enough for my body. I feel like my torso is longer than it should be proportionally for me. Like, this part of me is meant to be 5'7", 5'9", but my legs are missing like 3 inches. So yeah, I'm a tiny person. I'm also very thin. I'm very slight and very like straight. I have 0 curves on my body. And this is the thing, it's funny because I feel like when you're a person that is of a smaller build, something I've noticed in life is that I feel like people think it's more acceptable to like make comments about how you look because they feel like, oh, well, you're thin, so like you can't be offended, or it's not gonna be mean if I like kind of poke fun at you a little bit. And like, I don't really care all that much, and I don't have any problems with how I look. I don't take it for granted. My body is my body. I love it for what it is. But like, I remember being in my old job and people used to make comments to me like, oh, if Lauren turns sideways, she disappears, and things like that. Or, oh, like a soft breeze will come by and blow her over because she's so tiny. And like, again, I don't really care, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's not really nice. Like, that doesn't make me feel real good about myself. I don't know. I think it's just this sense of like, when you're skinny, when you're tiny, that you should almost like feel guilty or feel weirdly ashamed of yourself for it, not because you're unattractive, but because it's like you're blessed with something that other people feel jealous about, so they feel the need to like poke it at you and like remind you that you're lucky in a way that's really not kind. And if you guys don't know, like, so my blog name is Little Blushing Birdie, and I think part of the reason why I came up with that name is that I am a small, awkward person, and in many ways I feel a sort of kinship with birds. I really like birds. I have like little bird kind of statue-y things all over my house and candle holders and whatnot. I just think birds are beautiful creatures. So yeah, that's kind of the backstory on that, and that is me. I'm a tiny person. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm small but mighty. Now, I also see some questions here from you guys involving things like, how did I get started on YouTube? Why did I start a channel? My feelings towards PR. Now, I did do a getting ready with me, I think it was maybe a month or 2 ago, and I definitely answered a bunch of those questions. So I will find that for you guys, and I will link it like up here in the card somewhere, and also put it in the description box if you want to go check that out. But I will say, Darlene specifically asked me about PR in the sense of like waste that's created and my feeling about the idea of it in general, and I don't think I answered that the last time, so I will touch on that now. So as a smaller YouTuber, I definitely appreciate PR because it gives me the opportunity to test and review products and to have material to work with here on my channel without going broke. Because as you guys know, as people that buy makeup, it's expensive, and as a YouTuber, I feel like there is definitely sometimes a feeling of needing to have more than is necessary or more than the average person, because you are constantly kind of wanting to stay up to date on trends, try things that are relevant. So you stop buying just because you need things, and you start buying things because you want to try them and you want to review them. And I think sometimes there's some misconception around how much money YouTube actually brings in the average person and how much they're profiting off of their channels versus how much money they're putting back into it. And I know a lot of people don't want to like talk about things in great detail because it's uncomfortable to talk about, like, you know, how much money you make. But I will say this much, like, if my average video gets, I don't know, 500 to 700 views, that video might make a couple dollars for that many views. So like, really not very much. Like, the amount of work I have to do to be able to afford like a single eyeshadow palette just from my YouTube revenue alone, it's a lot. So most people that have channels that don't have like thousands and thousands and thousands, like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, they're putting every dime they make from YouTube right back into their channels and then some. So to me, I feel like PR can be a really helpful thing. Not to mention the fact that if an influencer like myself talks about a product, likes a product, and then you guys go out and buy it, that brand is profiting from that. So they're making money off of me, who's not really making any money doing what I am doing, and it's still time and effort and energy that I'm putting in. So I kind of see it as like it's a mutually beneficial thing. Not that I think that people should be doing or saying things just to get PR that they don't actually mean. I feel like integrity is literally everything in this industry, because I think that for the most part, most consumers are not stupid, and if you are selling them garbage, they're gonna find out real quick. So I personally have a zero desire to talk about products that I don't like, that I don't think are good, and if I try something and I don't like it, I'll usually try to tell you guys, and I'll try to tell you why. And I try not to bash products because I don't feel like that's necessarily constructive. If there's things about a product that I don't think perform well for me, it could be because of my skin type, it could be because of my preferences. If I think it's truly just not a good product for a specific reason with quality, like I'll let you guys know that too. But I do believe that PR can get very excessive, extravagant, and can be incredibly wasteful. Actually, this guy right here, perfect example of this. Okay, so this is the new Too Faced Damn Girl Mascara. I got sent this in PR, which was actually very surprising to me because I don't really get much PR from Too Faced. I'm not on their like normal PR list, so I don't get all their mailings that get sent out to the big influencers. So maybe like a couple times a year, something will randomly show up from Too Faced, which is really cool, and I appreciate it because, again, high-end brand, I can't always afford to just like go out and buy all of their stuff whenever I want to. So this mascara just launched. They must have sent out a bunch of them to a bunch of influencers. Obviously, with this being like a less expensive product, a less expensive launch, I think that's why they sent it out to a lot of smaller people in addition to the bigger influencers. But the packaging on this mascara, like the PR box, was absolutely ridiculous. Like, it was atrocious how wasteful it was. And I don't want to seem ungrateful to the brand because obviously I'm very appreciative to get to try this mascara, but they could have put this in a bubble mailer and sent it to me that way, and it would have been the same product. It wouldn't have changed my opinions on it whatsoever. And if anything, I feel more negatively biased because of the way that they chose to send it out. I'm not lying when I say the box that showed up on my doorstep was like bigger than would fit in this frame. It was absolutely massive. So it came in an exterior box, and then inside of the mailing box was like the PR press box, which was really pretty, really cute. You opened it up and it made a sound. It said, "Damn girl, those lashes are thick," which, you know, again, it's Too Faced. They're very over the top with things. And then the mascara was inside of a bigger like mascara, kind of like, you know, this Russian nesting doll kind of situation. So you pull off that, and then this was inside, and it's like, for the size of the box, you could have put like 500 of these mascaras in it. It was insane. And to me, I'm just kind of like, why? Like, that must be so much more expensive for them to manufacture and to ship, and it's like it's not going to necessarily, I feel like, benefit them in sales. Like, obviously the only reason for them as a business to do that is because they think it's going to make people more excited to try the product and say good things about it, so that they will hopefully sell more mascaras to you guys. When like total Flipside, Persona, for example, they sent me over all their new summer lip launches, and it just literally came in a bubble mailer. That was it. Also, the new M.O.T.D Cosmetics lashes, which I'm going to show you guys later, well, very soon actually, because I'm almost done doing my eye makeup, but they sent these over to me. Literally no printouts, no nothing. They emailed all the information to everyone, so instead of wasting paper by printing like inserts telling you about the lashes, they were like, here, all the information's available for you online. We're just going to send you the lashes in as minimal of packaging as possible. That, to me, amazing. Creating less waste, creating less crap that I have to worry about trying to get rid of. I would 100% prefer a brand to invest that portion of their advertising budget into influencers and actually paying them what they're worth for the content that they're creating. Like, I think it's very wasteful for brands to be spending tons of money on stuff. Like, to be honest, you can't pay your mortgage with free product. It sucks. Like, PR is great to receive, so that way we can, again, be able to create content without having to like go broke in the process. But if brands don't ever want to pay influencers money for the content they're creating, and then they're spending all this money on like really lavish PR packages, that bothers me. Now, as for this mascara, I actually like it quite a bit. I think I like it more than Better Than Sex because it doesn't flake on me as much, and I know that that was a big problem for a lot of people with the Better Than Sex formula. The only thing about this I don't like as much is that the brush is very, very large, and I find it just more difficult to maneuver without getting mascara, like on my upper lid especially. But I will put some on right now for you guys so you can see, like, it is very, very volumizing. I think it does really make your lashes look thick, and it doesn't chunk them together too badly. I've had this now for a while, so it has definitely dried out a little bit compared to when I first had it, but it's a really moussey formula to begin with, so I feel like the consistency hasn't changed that much. And like, as you can see, I mean, look at the difference between my two eyes. Like, it's a nice mascara. So yeah, I would not complain to have more PR options or to be reached out to by other brands, but I just feel like in general, I wish that brands could confirm with influencers before they just randomly start mailing things out if it's things that people want. And if there's a big influencer that doesn't want that package, if they have too much, give that PR to somebody smaller that may actually really want to try that product. Like, I think there's just so much that ends up getting sent out to people that just don't have the time because they've got too much, and then there are other people that are like, hey, I'm new, I'm up and coming, I'm not really on a lot of PR lists, I would really appreciate that. So I would love to see things kind of just reworked a little bit, you know? So I have these new lashes from M.O.T.D Cosmetics. They just launched. This is their first time doing falsies, and I'm super excited about it. These look absolutely beautiful. I believe they retail for $13 a piece, which is very, very reasonable for a nice quality synthetic silk lash that you can rewear a whole bunch of times. So I've got this style here called Pose, which I think honestly might be the ones I put on today. These look beautiful. Then these ones are called Omnia. Not as much my style because they're kind of like the same length all the way around. I honestly feel like I don't gravitate towards these, but then I put them on and they end up actually looking pretty nice. These will probably just be volumizing looking without being like too overly dramatic, so just have to see what they look like actually on my face. And then these last ones are called Tinted, which again look nice, kind of wispy, volumizing, super pretty. And on this note, would you guys like to see me do a video like dedicated to false lashes? Someone requested it a long time ago, and it's been a while, and I do enjoy falsies. I've tried quite a few different styles from a bunch of different brands, so if it would be helpful, I could always do like a my tips for application, for picking out a style, which ones I recommend most. If that's something you'd be interested in, leave a comment and let me know. So while I like trim these up and glue them and whatnot, let me see what other questions I can answer for you guys. So Things by the Burke asked me on Twitter, who is your favorite non-beauty YouTuber to watch? And then I know Lauren Stafford also asked me if I could only watch one YouTuber for the rest of my life, who would I choose? I definitely watch more beauty content than anything else because I love makeup and beauty. I'm a part of this community and I love supporting other creators doing the same things I like to do. But aside from beauty, the other thing that I'm big into is watching ASMR videos, which I know a lot of people think is very weird and it's very polarizing. I feel like some people absolutely love ASMR or they absolutely hate it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Cannot do it. For whatever reason, I am one of those people that like just the concept of ASMR and listening to those videos works like magical wonders for me. It's super, super relaxing. I find it to be incredibly helpful when it comes to dealing with my anxiety. And I also feel like the community of ASMR creators is one of the nicest, most genuine like community of people that I have ever come across. Like, we know the beauty industry can be kind of all over the place. There are some beauty creators that are just like super, super sweet, genuine, nice, very positive, lifting up other creators. Like, I don't want to let a few bad apples spoil the bunch. You know what I mean? There are definitely some beauty creators that are very dramatic, that are social climbers, that, you know, tear other people down to get ahead, that are just generally, in my opinion, not the best people. But I don't believe the entire beauty community should be painted that way. I think that that is not representative of most people in the beauty community. But ASMR, I feel like I've not seen any drama in that community. Now, I suppose that there are like factions of ASMR where things get a little bit weird. The ASMR creators that I watch are not people that create like overly sexualized content. Like, there are definitely some weird and interesting things that people like and enjoy on the internet, and I'm not going to judge them for it. But the people that I watch, like Maria, whose channel is Gentle Whisperings, ASMR Magic, Whispers Red, like, they're just the sweetest, kindest people that wholeheartedly just want to make other people feel better, feel safe, feel appreciated, feel like they have a place that they can go to be comforted when they're having a bad day or they're having an anxiety attack or whatever. And I just absolutely love that. And you know what, before I go in and put those lashes on, I probably should put on some liner so the band doesn't look quite as crazy. This one is purple, it's not black, it's from Dose of Colors, it's the shade Crushed, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of that on. But yeah, so my favorite non-beauty YouTubers to watch are definitely ASMR creators. I would say that is the thing I watch most next to beauty. And then as far as like who I would watch if I could only watch one YouTuber for the rest of my life, that is absolutely the hardest question to answer because I watch so many people and I enjoy so many different kinds of videos from those people. My gut instinct tells me that it would probably be either Samantha Ravndahl or Raw Beauty Christie, or maybe Kathleen Lights, because the three of them crack me up so much, and I love to laugh. I need comedic relief in my life sometimes because I get stressed out very, very easily, and if I'm having a crappy day, those are the ladies that I feel like immediately pick me up because they're just down to earth, funny. Samantha has like the driest sense of humor and I absolutely love it. She's been better about uploading more recently, but she like, you know, full well freely admits she's like not the most consistent creator, so that would be the only downside to picking her as the only YouTuber I could watch for the rest of my life because I wouldn't get a lot of videos. But I mean her absolutely no ill will for that whatsoever because like she's going through it. She's got stuff going on in her life. She talks about how she struggles with depression and like it's no joke. So I do not get upset if she misses uploads or she's not around all the time because when she does upload, it makes my day. Same thing goes for Christy. I love that Christy is expanding her content, trying to find her passion. She's growing her garden. She started her new channel with her husband. I think all of that is so amazing. I wish her like all of the success in the world. I think Christy is just a wonderful, genuine human being. She has amazing makeup skills. Her reviews, I find, are entertaining, but also helpful. Like they're that nice balance of being something I want to watch just to watch. Like she and I don't have even remotely the same skin type. Actually, none of the people that I'm mentioning have the same skin type as me. I'm really, really oily. They are all kind of more dry-skinned people. And yet I still feel like I get really good information from them. And then Kathleen is just like quirky and weird in the most lovable way. She's like a person that I just want to hang out with in real life because I just feel like she'd be a riot. And while I feel like her energy and my energy are different, I feel like they could mesh pretty well. She's a fun human. She's super funny. Again, I really appreciate that her content is like not overly produced. Her personality, I feel like, hasn't really changed. She's had like a million collabs with ColourPop and yet still doesn't ever come across as like super arrogant, full of herself. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think Kathleen is great. Oh yeah, I like that lash. That is super, super pretty. Definitely my speed. Also, the bands on these are great. They're super flexible. So like even though it's a black band, it's not the kind of black band that's hard and doesn't like conform to your eyelid. Very, very nice. So I'm going to apologize right now if the lighting in this video has been crazy and my background has been like shifting all over the place, but this video has taken me literally all day to film. I have had phone calls interrupt me, children outside screaming, people mowing. I've had to like start and stop. My battery died. So every time I have to get up and like turn the camera off, it kind of screws things up a little bit. So I'm sorry. Also, I took a little break while I was recharging my battery to edit some footage, and this video is gonna be super long, so we're gonna wrap things up real quick. I'm gonna put on a lip. I'm gonna just throw on this Coral Gloss from Persona that I've been seriously addicted to since I got it. And the final question that I'm gonna answer is from my friend Alana. Her channel is Classy on the Run. Hey Alana, if you're watching this. She asked, if I could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be? And dang girl, that is such a hard question because I have seen so little of this world and there are so many places that I want to go. My family never traveled when I was a kid. Like, we really didn't leave New England. I had gone to Florida one time to Disney World, April vacation. It was horrible. We're not gonna get into that right now. So there are tons of places in the United States that I feel like it would be really cool, especially if I didn't have to commit to living there forever. Like, if I could keep my house and come back to it and knew it was just like a temporary thing, I feel like I would be willing to try living a lot of different places. Like, my gut initial reaction is that, like, I would love to live in a different country. Like, if I had the opportunity to pick anywhere, I'd love to pick a place that it would be more difficult to live because it's my fantasy land. So, like, there are so many countries in Europe that I feel like would be fascinating. Obviously, we've talked about Italy and how, you know, being a place that my ancestors are from, I feel a connection to, and I would probably love to live there for a year. In the US, I probably would be down to live on the West Coast for a year. I've been to California twice. Both times I've been to Los Angeles, but California is a real big state. There are so many other places and things to see. So, like, there's a part of me that feels the appeal of, like, just living that West Coast lifestyle because I've been in Connecticut forever. And I don't know, I feel like some Asian countries would be really cool. I feel like it would be really interesting to live in Japan, but it would be such an absolute culture shock and so different from anything that I'm used to that, like, I don't know how I would feel living there for a year. Also, I feel like Australia or New Zealand would also be a really cool country to live in. I don't know. There are lots of places. I want to travel more. I want to see the world. It's something that I really haven't ever had the opportunity to do, but I want to. All right, guys, so I think that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're still here at the very end of this video, you are a champion. I hope you enjoyed hearing my answers to your questions. I know I didn't get to every single one, so I definitely will have to do this again. Feel free to leave questions in the comments for future Getting Ready With Me videos. I enjoy chatting with you guys, and I'm a little bit of a long-winded person, so I can never just give like a 2-second straightforward answer, you know? Anyway, thank you guys again so much for being here with me and for sending in your questions. I hope you enjoyed getting to know me a little bit better, and I hope I was able to bring a little bit of entertainment to your day. So on that note, I'm gonna let you guys go because I have taken up way too much of your time, but I hope you have a good one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.